Hello, my name is Asha Tanyumila Gabriela, and today I'm going to be presenting my app called Top Request. So, how did Top Request come about? I chose this app because, a lot of students have to go through outside sources to get like things like notes. I know they have like a whole website where you can sell your notes, whatever. But this app gives students like easy access to students who are directly in their classes to be able to access those notes. I also feel like there's a lack of communications for students, and I really did thought that this is going to be a solution to that problem. There's also a need for quick rides, so that means that like if a student is going to one place to another, they can just like put that in there, and then someone else can just hop and be dropped off on the way. There's also, like we have stated, if you're an out of state student or you are like an out of a country student, most of us like we have things that we can't bring with us. We end up leaving at home. But if it's something that you need for a day, then you're able to borrow it from another person who is willing to let you have it for a day. The impact. This creates more communications between students and money savings. Some negativities that this app might include is, using other people's information and overusing their items. Like I said, you are borrowing from one person. You do not get to keep it. You are borrowing. And then another negativity about the app is that it needs to be updated frequently. So it is a high maintenance website. An effect is that students will live abroad. So who exactly does this impact? It impacts people who live abroad or out of state and just kind of far away and are not able to go and get items that you don't need often, but in a moment of need, it is important to have so they can just borrow it and give it back later. And then this also, like under a sense of classes and notes, it also affects students who we may not be able to make it to class and make basic notes. And then a lasting effect is that students can have more access to things instead of buying a second of everything. After you go home, you're gonna have that item again. But if you borrow for a day, you can just have one of everything, and then that will also create more communications between students. So now that I have that listed out, I am going to go and show my app. So this is my app. It is called Third Request. Let me see. And what is Third Request? Third Request is an app that will help students have access to three main things. There's more things, but the three focus that I focus on is notes, electronics such as computers, just basic electronic things. If you want to play an instrument, you can request that on there. If you need dumbbells, you can request it on there. Another thing is carpooling and rides. So if you are on your way to somewhere and you need someone to drop you off real quick, that is also an access to you. I definitely know that there's like transportation and stuff, but sometimes waiting for transportation can take longer to get to a main point. So we just kind of make it more accessible for students to be able to get places, and that also reduces carbon footprints. Another thing that I thought about just now is that there's also an app called Turb to Turb, and I guess this will also be very similar where students can donate things or donate to Turb to Turb, and like that goes through that instead of like a need, you can have a what you don't need. And then I'm going to start presenting now. So when you first log in, you see the first screen. I'm going to click on the start here button, and there's a login screen. You can click on the sign up, and you can click on the reset, but I already have a role password created, so we can just do that. Oh, okay. My emails. Okay, so when you log in, like I previously mentioned, you have the categories, you have the notes, you have the electronics, you have the rights, and the carpooling. You can click on each one of these to see exactly what someone needs, but like you can click on see what other needs, and like it takes you to here. This right here is going to be a list of what other students need. I did not have enough time for me to create an actual real-time database of what other students needed, but if I had enough time, that's one thing I would do is that I will make sure to include like a list of what others need, like an actual real-time database. And actually I was researching on how to do it, and there's the same app or software that I use to create the login information I could have used to create a real-time to collect users input. It's called Firebase. you can click on my need, and when you click on my need, you are with this right here where there's like just a bunch of things to get, like like, so you can do that. You can to delete, you can delete food, you can change that. mm. That's supposed to automatically like update or whatever, but you can click on delete, delete everything, and then you can go to profile and click. You can add a picture if you need to. You can add a bio right here, and then after you click back to go back to origin, you click on start here. Add. Okay, and then so once again, this is just a basic. There's also just one app that I just added. Um it's called Rate This App, where you like just basic things. I think I'm gonna definitely add more to the stream because it's lacking. You can have like a slider or whatever. Let me just turn it up. Okay, so now I'm going to be answering the basic questions. What is the app? I already answered that. So what went well? The one thing that went really well was the process of the login screen. The login screen, I have previously done it, and I did a lot on there. It took the most time to get done. But that went really well. I did have a struggle with like the API key or whatever. I had a problem with that. I had a problem with logging all the data into the Firebase and then like just like implementing that in the actual making of the app. But since I had previously done it, it wasn't much of an issue. It also covered most of the loops and the if statements. So like, it was like killing one bird with two birds with one stone. And then what didn't go well? So another thing that I feel like did not go well, and I previously mentioned it, was just like the once again just collecting the real time database. If I have more time, I will make it so I am able to collect actual real like information and inputs from other users, because like there was like an empty list that should have been filled with other people's need or whatnot. How did you integrate the feedback? So another feedback that I got from my peers at the beginning of this rough draft was just that like the streams were too empty, and I do agree with that. I had like 4 streams listed. There was nothing. There was nothing in it. It was empty, and it just needed more work. But I'm happy that I was able to, fill that in with enough information. I did get that filled in, and also just added a lot more details and a structure. I definitely feel like my app can use more structure, but so far it's looking okay. It's looking okay, and I think that will be all for today. Thank you so much, and